Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Novak's Real Talk Weekly on Monday night. We are discussing the biggest mistake sellers are making right now. Stay tuned. Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. Hope you missed us. We are diving straight into this. So we're looking at the biggest mistake sellers are making right now on the northern beaches with their properties for sale. Billy, do you want to jump in? Let's go straight ahead.
3 points of discussion for this evening. We won't keep you long, but we do want to highlight some really important points of topic of conversation we're finding in the market at the moment. A lot of people are asking, well, what is the state of the market at the moment? It's 4 weeks near to the day. 12th of May was the budget changes, so nearly 4 weeks to the day. And some interesting observations have come about from buyers, but now vendors coming into the marketplace. And I guess wanting to try and avoid the pitfalls, wanting to try and avoid unnecessary grief selling their property. So we're going to give you 3 really cool little takeaway points this evening. Let's get into it. Number one.
Let's do it. Number one, overpricing based on neighbor sales during peak periods.
Yeah.
So this is a major factor before you've even decided an agent. You may see some recent sales on your from your street or around the corner, but from even just as little as 2 months.
I'm saying 12th of May is when it changed, like post-budget. Let's talk super comparable sales in the same market. Let's get it within a 500-meter radius of your home, and let's compare apples with apples. That gives you, as the owner, the best way to make an educated decision moving forward. That's before you've spent any money in marketing. It's before you put your first impression out to the market. Let's get super concise with our comparisons. So what I'm doing for owners is re-looking at all pricing within what's sold in the last 4 weeks, what's come on the market in the last 4 weeks as well. And we've got access to that information, which sometimes is a bit harder to read. As a public consumer, you're not able to read the days on market and what the how long properties were on the market were for until they're sold.
Yeah, and finding out guides of properties that have just come to market as well is very important, so that you can understand what you're competing with and where you need to sit in comparison to that. Because a buyer will see a property priced and then compare it directly with yours, even if it's around the corner or further down the street. Yeah. It really becomes like for like. And then in terms of pricing, you need to get it right the first time. Otherwise, if you start to drop your guide, buyers will then start to lose that interest, and that'll take your competition away. So
yeah, I found it was about 3 months before the market became a little bit more choppy and harder to read. It used to be about 3 months you could get away with as far as a recent sale, but the more recent the better right now.
Yeah, right now it's very important.
So if you're looking at last year's sales, like December, Christmas, I'm sorry,
it's a different market,
but it's probably a little bit too far gone. Yeah. So that's probably advice number one.
Yeah. All right. Now advice number 2 is poor presentation. Yep. Now, this has a major impact, actually, especially on the northern beaches. Buyers really, purchase a property based on that emotion, that feel they get from being inside the property. They want to visualize themselves living there. So you need to make sure it's presented in a very meticulous way. It needs to be clean. It needs to be tidy. And it's just got to make buyers feel happy. Right? What do you have to say?
Yeah, you might be in a price point, or you might be in a location where you're selling a lifestyle characteristic, and if I guess presentation makes up about a third of the overall campaign as far as strategy goes. So it's pricing, it's products, which is the home itself, and then promotion. So if you can present the home in a way that's going to speak to buyers the language of how they see themselves in a home, it really does help. Presentation at the moment, like people might ask, well, what does that look like? We're not suggesting every property needs to be styled with furniture, but it might be looking at landscaping from the outside, the first impression, what can you do to just give it the extra 1%? You know, making sure lights are working, making sure it doesn't smell, making sure it sort of hits the five senses, look, feel, touch.
Yeah, and it's important that your agent actually helps you with that, so that you can understand what you need to do and what you don't necessarily need to do.
Yeah.
And that can save you money there. But you don't want to lose money in your sale price by not spending that extra little bit of money to get the presentation right straight off the bat.
Yeah, it's a presentation, like in this market, really, really important. And if you can give yourself that competitive edge, then, you know, take it.
Yeah. One of our vendors from 41 Bix Road in DY, a single-story house, had their property tenanted. And then when the tenants vacated, she decided to do a paint, fix up those, rotten window frames, get a brand new underfloor heating system installed, and it works a treat. We've got colder days now. We put that on, and buyers get that warm feeling straight away. It hits them when they come through the door. It makes a huge difference, and the feedback's been so positive there. That's just a live example that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, and I've got, like, I guess there's no excuses either. I've got a property coming on the market where there's a tenant living in the property, and so most people would think, okay, well, there's an occupant there. You can't do anything. You can't really you can't renovate. You can't paint. You can't do new flooring. And I appreciate that. There's someone living in the property, but what you can do is maybe help them with a bit of storage. So if it's really cluttered, you could maybe move some personal effects out of the apartment, or you might look at doing a one-off clean, to make sure that everything, as far as a surface level, looks presentable. Those are sort of the things you can do.
Same thing with our Meriton apartment. Just before we go to the third point, we have a 2-story Meriton apartment for sale. It is tenanted. We had an initial visit at the property, and then we actually offered those tenants a rental rebate, so money off their rent per week, and they absolutely transformed that property. It presented immaculately. They are one of the best tenants that have transformed their property I've ever seen. A big shout out to them. They know who they are. In the Meriton, they did such a good job. It's beautiful, and then it really shows, with the property. It makes that difference, and it's so important. That's why we brought it up.
So there you go. That's point 2. It's a consultation before you hit the market, and then we have like a concierge service where we take your property, give you the recommendation, and basically do all that work for you.
Yeah, and then on to our final point, guys, for the night. It's choosing an agent on commission rather than strategy. Now, what a mistake this is, guys. I think that Meriton apartment, we've got the 2-story unit, is going to be a live example very soon, because the strategy in terms of putting your property for sale in this current market is so pivotal in your campaign. I could not reiterate that enough.
Yeah, it would be like, I'm trying to give you an example, going to a doctor and saying, I want to achieve this sort of set of goals. And one doctor says, well, we can do that real cheap over the phone. We don't even really need to know you. We just know what works. So give you a cheap fee, or, there's someone that's going to sit down and really understand what you're trying to achieve, know you, know what's going to be tailored towards getting the result. That's just an example. But
I've got one. It's bringing your injured dog to a dog walker rather than the vet. The dog walker will give you a quick, easy, cheap, strategy. The vet will be more expensive, but your dog will be repaired.
I'll be using that one moving forward.
All right.
It's better than the doctor. Well, there you go. I think proof is in the pudding, and you get what you pay for. Pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So if on a really serious note, I think where people go into a slightly harder market, or they're looking at trying to save every penny with maximizing their result, there's really good ways to be efficient with that. And then there can be some big pitfalls with like anything, choosing sometimes the cheapest option. There's a bit of a pyramid sort of scheme where you can get speed, quality, and then time. And generally you can only have 2 of those ingredients. So if you want speed and quality, you can't do that really, really cheap and quick. And if you want the best outcome, often you've got to ask yourself, am I getting am I putting in and getting out
Yeah.
the best result.
I'm with you there. So I do need to actually bring up as well that that you need to understand what the agent in front of you is offering in terms of a strategy, and that's where in a tough market like right now, the experienced agents who've been through this and the agents who are willing to put the work in and understand the market and strategies to sell your property do really lift and shine and rise above all other agents. And you'll start to see it in the tougher markets, which we're currently in.
Yeah, I think certainly 6 months ago, anyone was able to put a listing up and get it sold. And relatively speaking, might have just been reliant on exposure on the portals, taking some owners' vendor paid advertisement, putting it out online and, sort of waiting to see who shows up. But now if you've got, people with systems in place, it really makes a big difference as far as who's connecting with the buyers, who's getting the cut through, and who's putting deals together. And we like to think that's us, here working hard, 8 o'clock on a Monday with a team of 13 sales.
You don't see that often, do you?
So, if you're looking for any advice, give us a call. Hopefully that helps as far as mistakes, how to avoid them.
Absolutely, guys. Well, I hope you're doing well. And if there's anything you need, just let us know. Always open to come down into our office and have a chat. We have free coffee here for you that we make. But as for this evening, I hope you have a wonderful night, and I hope this helped you with your thoughts, decisions, and understanding of what's going on in this market. So we'll bid you guys a farewell. We'll see you around. Catch us next time you see Billy and Thomas live on Novak, guys. Enjoy your night, and we'll see you later.
See you.